Now, you can say he had COVID. I don't care. He's the sitting president of the United States. For it to come out on personal stationery and then in a tweet, he endorses Kamala Harris, and now we're being told we're going to hear from him tomorrow night. That is just incredibly bizarre, and it is understandable why people speculate about what was really going on behind the scenes. The truth is that none of us really know what type of internal pressure was put on Joe Biden, what type of threats were made.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Leftist Losers Show, where we point out all of the losers of the left. And today I got another clip from the Piers Morgan Show where Dave Smith just absolutely tears the left apart, and he is the king of stop making me defend Trump. Dave Smith is a libertarian personality who is extremely level-headed. He's not right about everything because nobody is, but Dave Smith is fantastic. The man does actually critically think about what he's about to say, and he does a fantastic job of calling out the BS on both sides of the aisle. And usually, because the left is just full of all kinds of BS, it's usually going against the left. And so anyways, on the Piers Morgan Show, he is just tearing apart these leftist pundits, and it's a fantastic show to watch. It definitely made me happy. It brought some joy to my day, so I figured I'd show it to you guys and let you guys watch Dave Smith just do what he does best, and that is destroy the left and make them look like fools. So let's go ahead and jump right into that, and we'll and let me know what you guys think down in the comments below.
Service dropped the ball in such spectacular fashion and left President Trump exposed so badly, which could have led to him being killed and should have done, really. It was a miracle that he survived, that the Director of Secret Service, Kim Cheadle, has today resigned or probably been fired. So that is probably where my main blame would go, is their failure to protect the president. Now, listen, hang on a second, Joe. We've got to say goodbye to Ben to be respectful to his time.
Thanks,
Ben,
guys.
thank you very much indeed for coming back and Uncensored. I appreciate it. We're joined by Chris Murray from the Chris and Harry Unplugged, and I'll come to CJ Pearson as well. But Dave Smith, you've been sitting next to me here, even though we're looking down barrels of different cameras. You wanted to get in there. You were aghast about something. I'm not quite sure what it was.
Well, look, okay, there's just a couple things here. First of all, I do understand why people object to the use of the term coup. However, for Joe to say, well, this was just Joe Biden made a decision, that's pretty misleading also. The truth is,
no, it's 1,000% a coup. The fact that the Democrats installed a candidate with zero input from the primary voters and did so and then start pushing the agenda that everyone should just clap and cheer for it, which there are some leftist pundits you're about to see do that on this show specifically, is disgusting. It is a coup. A coup. One of my Cartman from South Park. No, it's a coup. It literally was. It might not be a hard coup where the military rolls up with firearms and points the guns at everybody and says you're going to do what we say, but it is a soft coup because they removed the ability for the voter to vote. Or I should say, they removed the ability for the voter to implement their will upon the system. The Democrats didn't get to choose this person. Yeah, they might have chose Kamala as a VP, but that's kind of just like a secondary symptom of voting for Joe Biden, which is what people normally do is they vote for the president. They don't really care about the vice president other than them being attached to the presidential candidate. So it's just saying, oh, well, she's going to be the presidential candidate now. You guys don't get to choose at all. The reality was they didn't want RFK, and this is my opinion now, they didn't want RFK to get a chance to take over the Democratic Party because he's another populist similar to Trump, just on the leftist side of politics. And I think that they were just trying to make sure that he had no ability to get into the system. So they blocked him. They forced Joe Biden. I should say forced. They let Joe Biden be stubborn and stay in power until the debate, knowing that the debate would completely sink him because, come on, these people aren't stupid, they're evil. They've known that Joe Biden was completely mentally incapable, and they knew that he would get torched by Trump at this point, but they did not want to let the primary system play out because it would have hurt their agenda. So I think that it was a coup of sorts.
Is that Joe Biden did make his decision. His decision was to stay in the race. He made this very, very clear. Up to Sunday morning, on the Sunday morning news shows, campaign surrogates were going out saying he's staying in the race. It's Biden versus Trump. Now, it's not exactly that he made a decision. Big donors and political operatives and the corporate press all turned their back on him and said, we are going to force your hand. And essentially, he was forced out. On top of that, look, I'm not claiming to know anything that we don't know. It is incredibly bizarre that the President of the United States of America, a few weeks out from the convention, decided to pull out of the race and did not address the nation. Now, you can say he had COVID. I don't care. He's the sitting president of the United States. For it to come out on personal stationery and then in a tweet, he endorses Kamala Harris, and now we're being told we're going to hear from him tomorrow night. That is just incredibly bizarre, and it does it is understandable why people speculate about what was really going on behind the scenes. The truth is that none of us really know what type of internal pressure was put on Joe Biden, what type of threats were made. So the fact that people would speculate about that, I think, is totally reasonable.
And like I was saying earlier, it's bizarre. And if you follow the breadcrumbs, the logical thinking or the thought process that we're going through, the path we're following makes sense. But Democrats don't like that because look, the Democrats are manipulative, right? Their party is very manipulative. These people play politics very well. They do the house of cards thing. They look at strategy and they find ways to get their agenda and to get power, because there is no truth but power. That's the big leftist slogan, right? So of course they're going to claim, no, it wasn't a coup. We just picked her because she's super popular, and you're going to see them push that. But the reality is the deep state, and when I say deep state, just the system in general, the rhinos, the Democrats, these people that all agree with the same garbage, the globalist agenda, they needed somebody in power who's a puppet, somebody who is not popular, who they can push around, who will just do what they tell them to do, who will push the agenda they tell them to push, because that person just wants to be in power and doesn't really care. And that's Kamala Harris. That was Joe Biden. They're just symptoms of the system. They are the deep state puppets. They love this stuff because at the end of the day, they get to be famous and rich and get all the benefits of it. They just get to do what they're told, which is easier for them, and they're fine with that. So that's why they want Kamala Harris now. They don't want somebody like RFK. They don't want somebody like Trump, clearly. That's why they tried to kill him. So when RFK starts rising up in the ranks, just like Bernie Sanders did, this is all because of what happened in 2016. Bernie Sanders should have won the Democratic primary in 2016, but they took it from him because they were panicking. Because while Bernie Sanders is a part of the system, we know that now. At the time, they thought he was another populist candidate like Trump, and they were scared. So they did everything they could to make sure he couldn't get there. Because if it came down to him or Trump at that time, the system was in panic mode. They were freaking out because they're going, there's no establishment option. This is bad. And that's what's happening here. That's why they had to make sure that RFK couldn't get on the Democratic ticket, because he would have won the primary, guaranteed. There was no other good options, and RFK was a rising star, during the primaries of this year. And so, what do they do? Well, they just make sure Joe Biden at least stays in until the debate. They let the debate tank him. He then gets forced out because he wants to stay in, obviously personally, but they just force him out through donors and money because money is power. And then they can bring in whoever they want. And Kamala Harris, who's extremely unpopular, has never done well in her political career. There's a reason why she was the first person to drop out of the Democratic race, or one of the first, before there was even any voting back in 2020, because she's not popular. And because she's not popular, she has no leverage. And so the system can manipulate and get her to do whatever they want, push whatever agenda they want easily, because she's only there because they let her be there. And that's it's all blackmail, it's all power moves, it's all manipulations.
On the other point, the idea that Republicans would never question Donald Trump. He's their God emperor. They would never think about another nominee. The problem with this narrative from the left is that reality flies in the face of it. Look, there was a National Review entire issue dedicated to never Trump in 2016. Mitt Romney, the previous nominee, came out and gave a speech. Anyone but Donald Trump. This year, all of the big donor money was going to DeSantis and Nikki Haley. All of the powerful forces within the Republican establishment have been trying to get anybody else except Donald Trump. The difference between Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Donald Trump is that Donald Trump, however you feel about him, has tens of millions of Americans who love him and want him to be the nominee. And there's no Democrat who has anything like that.
I agree. CJ, let me bring in CJ, who's been waiting patiently. Hang on, Francesco, I'll come to you in a moment. CJ Pearson, can you tell me what brat means, given it's the word that's all over the news, and you're probably the only one young enough on the panel to know what it means? Apart from Francesco.
As the resident Gen Zer here, it seems as if Kamala Harris is having a brat girl summer, which actually means that she actually doesn't know what's going on. It's a state of deliriousness. It's a state of delusion. It's like you're just going along to get along, but that's kind of how Kamala Harris has led her entire political career. She's just been a coconut falling from a coconut tree. She just lands in a place and hopes that the American people will go along with it as this coordination has taken place. Dave absolutely hit all the right.
Real quick, I just want you to watch the guy in the gray sweatshirt bottom right. He keeps grinding his teeth because he's a huge, Kamala Harris supporter, apparently. And it's just fun to watch how pissed he is watching them just poke fun at Kamala Harris.
Points. Donald Trump went through a spirited Republican primary process where he knocked every single one of them out one by one. what's happening right now, which is so ironic and so hypocritical, is that the party that is supposedly so against voter suppression is now disenfranchising millions of Democrat voters who voted for Joe Biden to be their nominee. They bullied a senile old man out of office just so that they could have a chance at winning in November. It's disgusting, it's wrong, it's anti-democratic, and dare I say it's a threat to democracy.
Yo, you should
It's
vote
not
Joe
Brad at all,
Biden.
Piers.
Vote
It's
All
not
right,
Joe.
the
You should bring him back into the race.
Hang on.
Defend him.
Hang on. Let me go to Chris. From Chris and Harry Unplugged, who's also been waiting a long time to get in here. Probably even younger, so knows even more what brat means. Kamala Harris, I mean, what do you make of the new threat to Donald Trump? He's got to tear up his entire playbook, which was to beat an old guy, to now go after a much younger black woman. It's a completely different proposition for Trump. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Republicans and Trump are panicking, and I think you've seen it in the last 10 or 20 minutes. If they want to run, if the PR play for Republicans wants to be that Democrats are a threat to democracy, that Democrats are doing something undemocratic, Donald Trump and Republicans like C.J. Pearson want to run on that, I think Democrats are in a great position in November. They have nothing. And to the last point about, everybody in this party has to bend the knee to Donald Trump. C.J. Pearson would not be sitting where he is if he didn't go and praise Donald Trump and have a Trump banner in his header. I mean, C.J.'s somebody who, in his primary election that he lost, he called voter fraud against his Republican counterpart. And so, in the Democrat world, we've had fierce debates about our candidate, and it's been hard. But we have values and morals that actually matter over just bowing the knee to one man. And so I think Democrats are in a great position, and she's clearly popular because she's fundraised more money than anyone in political history.
I wouldn't expect to hear anything less from a Democrat, from a DNC paid show like Chris Mowry. But what I'll say to this is that Kamala Harris is nothing more than a pandering shadow. And she is in the same situation that Joe Biden is in. She is not running the show whatsoever. And what she'll realize is that Black Girl Summer will not be enough to change the hearts and minds of America's young people, because under Kamala Harris, what you won't have is a Black Girl Summer. What you will have is a Broke Girl Summer as a result of the runaway inflation that we're experiencing under the Biden-Harris administration, as a result of the record high gas prices we've seen under their administration. Their leadership is absent of any leadership.
Then you got nothing to worry about, CJ. Now, then, CJ, if you're right, if Kamala Harris is nothing, you should be smiling. You should be celebrating right now. You got nothing.
And the funny thing is, most Trump supporters are celebrating. Kamala Harris if she actually gets the nomination, will be the easiest person for Trump to beat. I truly believe that. Because a lot of black men don't support Kamala Harris, and the black population heavily supports the Democrats and is a major part of their voter base. I mean, I think the saying is if they don't get 20% of the black vote, the Democrats lose every time. I don't know how true that is. I don't think they'll actually lose that much of the vote, but I think the reality is Kamala Harris is not popular. And this thing that I think his name is Chris in the gray sweatshirt's doing, the Democrats are the ones who are extremely desperate. And this fake hype, this fake confidence, they know what they're doing. It's a manipulation. They're very good at it. I will give that to the Democrats. They are very manipulative and they're very good at it. And they know that people want to fit in. People want to feel like they're on the winning team. So the only way that they're going to push this Kamala Harris thing forward is by fake confidence. There's no confidence there. The polling number is not behind her. Nobody voted for her because she was just selected. But these people know if they want to get people riled up and in support, they need to get the team motivated. And so they're out here rah-rahing and saying, we're so great. The other team's scared. We're going to beat them. They're good at it. They're very good at it. You got to give it to them. They are very good at it. And while it's frustrating because we know it's all bullshit, excuse my language, that's just the reality. They know they can manipulate people because a lot of Democratic voters are just low information voters. I don't want to say low IQ. They might not be low IQ. They're just not initiated. They don't care. They just want to feel like they're a part of the winning team. They just want to feel like they're the good guys. And that's what the Democrats prey on, is manipulating the emotions of the voter. So anyways, guys, that was the clip I had for you. There is a lot more to this podcast, or I should say the show is an hour long. Dave Smith gets into it a lot more and does a fantastic job tearing them apart. So if you like that stuff, want to see more of it, head over to the Piers Morgan Uncensored show. This one was from, what was it? I think the 25th of July. So go check this episode out. Give Dave Smith some love. The dude's fantastic. Look him up on X. He absolutely just tears the left apart all the time. And it's good. It's good entertainment. You guys will like it. Anyways, if you appreciate this, like and subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate it. Comment down below what you guys think, or if you hated this, tear me apart in the comments. Either way, I appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Peace.